Oh, man. It's Monday after Martinsville Speedway, so I'm tired. But, man, that episode last night was exhausting.
Dude, it was so satisfying.
Before we, well, you know what? The sad music's about to cue in, so I hate to give our info. So let's just let this happen for a second. So sad.
And man, I want some celebrate. Oh, you know who I'm glad ended up on a pike.
We're going to talk about that. You know what? Let me do something I never do. Let me pause the sad music to do our intro first, and then we'll come back to the sad music because it's very fitting. My name is Justin.
Oh, and mine is JP, right?
And to my knowledge, right?
That's right.
Or are you secretly like a undercover operative and you've lied?
I have a few aliases, but we'll stick with that one.
We are the Podcasting Dead. Obviously, we talk a lot about The Walking Dead, but we talk about a lot of other stuff alongside that. Don't forget, we have Current Events Tuesday, Random Rambling Wednesdays, Mail Call Thursdays, and, well, that's it. But still, it's more than we used to have, so hopefully you enjoy it. But we podcast every week, so if you like podcasts and you're just randomly finding us on the internet, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, because what does it hurt, right? It
feels good. Just do it.
Just press the button. Hit the little notification beside it so it'll send you notifications when we get the videos. Hit the like button. All that good stuff. At the end of the video, we're going to give out our social media info. If you want that, you can follow us each individually. But in the meantime, let's get back to The Walking Dead. Now, I've got to say, keep in mind, there are absolutely going to be spoilers in this episode.
We're gonna spoil it top to bottom.
Spoiler central. And also, we try to only do a little comic spoilers, but we're going to talk about the comics because you can't read the comics and watch this episode and not draw comparisons. So if you don't want any comic spoilers, maybe come back once you've caught up on the comics. Because, we're going to have some major comic spoilers here, too. So without further ado, let's cue that sad music back in. There we go. Oh, man. Okay, so number one, let me just say that I really want to applaud the writers of The Walking Dead because, no, they didn't kill off anyone crazy major. I mean, some major characters, but not crazy major, and I'm sure people are already complaining about that. Oh, I thought it was going to be some major... But I would not have guessed almost any of the people that ended up on those pikes other than Earl's wife. That's the only one I knew was going to happen. That happened in the comics. They kind of had her be a bitch in the beginning. And I thought, oh, yeah, she's definitely going to die. And then you kind of started liking her towards the end. And then I heard that the actress spoiled it. But, man, so let's go from the front to the back or the left to the right and go through these deaths. Because, man, there were quite a few of them. So first we have Ozzy, the leader of the Highwaymen, the one wearing the cowboy hat. I really liked him. I'm kind of disappointed that we're not going to get to know him better.
That is definitely a waste, in my opinion. I thought that was kind of a waste. And they could have at least, if they were going to put his head on a pike, kept his cowboy hat on.
Right, they kept the girl's glasses.
Right.
Ozzy have his hat, but also his Lieutenant Alec, which we didn't really know him that well. Yeah. But and then we had what was his name? Former Saviors, Frankie and DJ. Mm-hmm. And Frankie, man, we didn't know him that well, but he was kind of like the girl that played Sasha, Sonequa Martin Green. Her husband is the bald guy that's been at Alexandria for a long time. In the last episode, he was the first one looking for his kid when he found the food, all of that. I thought, he would die, but this DJ was kind of like this guy, right? Like he was... No, I'm sorry, not DJ. Frankie was like this guy. Like we'd seen him around. We didn't really know him that good, but you still kind of hate to see him go, right? And then, of course, DJ Tammy Rose, Earl's wife, which, like I said, we kind of knew that was coming. You also had Addie and Rodney taking the two teenagers out now. Enid, which I did not see.
No, I didn't either, man.
Man, I thought Alden was going to end up on the spike, and probably Luke. Like, being they were together the whole episode, I thought they were going to get lured out and both killed. I'm very relieved to see Luke did not die. I like Alden. He's not giving me a reason to want him to die, but at the same time, I wouldn't have been as upset if he died. So I am glad we got to save Luke, but...
I'm glad those snotty teenage boys got piked. So,
I was not happy about Enid. Like I thought. I didn't like Enid. But it's several characters. That shows how much better the writing is this season. There are many characters that I did not like up to this point that I like this season. And Enid was one of them. I actually liked her now that she had grown up, I guess. She was no longer like a rebellious teenager with a very narrow worldview. But I did not expect that. And when it showed them on stage and he started looking, I was like, no. And then Enid's head. And now the one that bothered me the most, Tara. I was not ready for that, man, because she, again, is one of those characters, didn't really care much for her during the whole Dwight thing where she's like, I hate Dwight, I want to kill him. No, now I love Dwight, I forgive him. I just, but this season she seemed to, the characters in this season are a lot more fleshed out, I feel. I feel like you connect with them a lot better this season than you have in previous seasons, and I think that's in large part due to just better direction this season. But I like Tara. If you go back to an earlier podcast, this season, I said, I do not want Tara to die this season. I actually like her. I don't want her to die. And I was very sad when she did because and that's the brilliance of this episode, they did a lot of things to make us think because basically, even if you don't read the comics, a lot of people knew Heads on Pikes was coming. And they did a lot of things this episode to make you think someone was either going to die or someone was safe and then switch it up. Like Tara, she wasn't leaving that night. She was leaving early that morning. So I thought, she's going to live. You know what I mean? And then when I think her name's Diane, and the one with the bow and arrow, and Cal, and that whole group left, I was like, yep, they're going to end up on Pikes. Yeah, they didn't.
It's weird, man. I actually like Tara more in past seasons, and I really liked seeing her get put in her place. When they're having the Lydia debate, and by the way, you used to hang out with the governor.
You used to be an enemy too.
Yeah. So.
But I liked her this season. I didn't like her in past seasons. I think that's where me and Maddie D agreed. We just didn't care much for her. You actually, one of your favorite episodes was what I consider to be like the second or third most boring episode in the entire series, which was the Oceanside episode.
Oh, yeah, I loved Oceanside.
I hated that episode. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it just was so boring. And finally, Henry. Henry, I think, was a great twist. I try to stay away from the spoiling dead and the spoilers because I just don't like to have things spoiled for me. But I saw where people were saying they thought Henry might end up dying. And I think we might have even talked about it before, but I really didn't think they were going to kill Henry.
Nah, man, I'm glad they did. You know who he reminds me of? And another reason I hate him so much, what was his name? Tommen, like Joffrey's younger brother.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
He's so soft-spoken and his stupid blonde hair.
Well, he's always got this dumbfounded look on his face, too.
Man,
He always has this look on his face that says, did someone fart?
Yeah, even as a zombie head, he had it.
And it's like, but I did not expect that. Like, as soon as Ezekiel, again, another great, I'm going to praise the crap out of this episode. If you didn't like it, I am so sorry, but I loved it. Like, when she walked off with Ezekiel on her arm, I was like, no, don't go, Ezekiel. And I thought, okay, Ezekiel's now dead. But then when we saw him on stage with Lydia during the movie, and, she's like, and I can't find Henry, I was like, no.
Right.
And then the reveal, and it wasn't so much of like sadness because I really am glad Henry's off the show, but because he's just a terrible character. He makes he's like Andrea 2.0. He just makes like any decision he looks at and he goes, okay, this would be the safe bet. This would be the stupid bet. I want to go the stupid bet, but I just did. It was shock. I didn't expect it. And then I thought the acting was great too, man. Like Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride, Carol and Daryl doing the scene where he's like, "Don't look," and I thought that was so good, man. Yeah, even the lady that plays Yumiko did a great job. Like when she sees him and she puts her hands. The only acting on this episode I don't like is Sadiq. Don't let Sadiq give the final speech. He's a whiny. I'm sorry if you are a Sadiq fan. I don't apologize because it's my opinion, but trigger warning. But I think Sadiq sucks. He whines when he talks.
Happy to have seen him on a Pike as well.
He whines when he talks way too much, and then you let him give an entire speech. I mean, why couldn't it have been like? There's so many other characters that could have been tied up and left alive who could have gave a much better speech. Father Gabriel. I would have loved to have seen Eugene give the speech.
It's definitely a dangerous thing being having Carol as a mother or a surrogate mother.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you think about it,
And for the record, Eugene's speech would have not hit that emotional mark. I get it. Eugene's would have been funny.
Stupid puns and,
But I still would have rather had a funny speech after that than Sadiq's speech. I just think Sadiq sucks. His delivery sucks. It just drives me crazy. But yeah, no. I really do hope now we're setting the stage for a Carol Alpha showdown.
No, it's going to have to happen.
I mean, I know that Daryl, and for comic fans, there were several moments in this episode that was straight out the comics. Did you spot them? Because when you had Daryl kind of taking Rick's spot on this. Because in the comics, she takes Rick for a walk, and the only difference is they're in like a town, city area versus being out in the woods. But she takes Rick for this walk, the same way she did with Daryl. They had him cornered and all of that, and she takes him on top of this building and shows him these thousands of zombies they've got, and she's just like, I can destroy what you have, and without thinking. So back off, leave us alone, don't cross into our territory anymore, or this is going to happen. And that was straight out the comics. And then also when Alpha kills that random whisperer, they didn't really explain it in the show, but in the comic, she's crying or whatever, and he kind of walks up on her, and she turns around, and she's. I forgot the exact dialogue, but basically it was something to the effect of she tells him he can't tell anyone he saw her crying because they can't know that she can't be showing weakness, more or less. And he's like, don't worry, I won't tell anybody. And she's like, I know you won't. And she slits his throat or something. So that was pretty much straight out the comics as well.
I'm telling you, man, if I was a whisperer, I would have some kind of secret, meeting. Like, hey, Alpha kind of kills people randomly.
That's what I don't get.
Maybe we should reelect, I don't know.
But you think that, and I guess in a smaller group, it would be easier than like a country. But I mean, that's how people in power are. You know what I mean? I mean, look at all of the great, horrible dictators. And when I say great, I don't mean they were good. I mean, great as in they were like, they were these grand leaders who had like nations under them. I mean, It's just everyone there. Hey, look North Korea, and I don't know all the facts. So I mean, somebody will probably tell me where I'm completely wrong on this. But I mean, like Kim Jong-un seems like a complete psychopath and just like a straight up, nobody wants him there. And it's like you got a whole freaking country. Just go slit his throat in his sleep and be like, woohoo! No. Who's going to lead? Yeah, I mean, but people don't. And a lot of times when someone gets in power like that, people are intimidated of them and they just sit back and.
Yeah, when Beta's got your back, you definitely got to think twice.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt either to know that if you kill her, there's going to be this 6'5" giant of a man coming after you in the night.
Alpha's got to be giving Beta some butt. For him to follow her like he does, man, knowing that he could lead everybody if you want it, man.
What's interesting is in the comics, she talks to him a lot worse than she does in the show. In the comics, she almost talks to him like he's her dog. I mean, it's several points where, he might doubt something she says, and she's like, are you challenging me? Do you want to become the new Alpha? And he's just like backing down, like, no.
Yeah, a lot of times, man, you're better off being number 2 than number 1, because at the end of the day, number 1's going to get all the blame.
No, number 1 sucks. It can definitely have its downfalls. I mean,
heavy lies the head that wears the crown.
Yeah, so I mean, Beta's in a good spot. He's the muscle, he's revered, he's respected, but he doesn't have to take all the blame. Mm-hmm. Oh, but man, such a good episode. Man, I love this season. I've said it a million times. I'm a broken record, but I just think this season could be what saves The Walking Dead. I think it
already has.
It's faithful to the comics, but it deviates enough. Like I said, those heads on Pikes, other than the wife of the blacksmith, like that. That's it. I mean, they were like Enid's not in the comics. Tara's not in the comics. I'm trying to think. I don't think anybody on the Pikes was actually in the comics aside from her. And I might be wrong with that. I have to think again. But I think that's right. So it's like I was completely. But I'm happy because we get King Ezekiel longer.
Yeah, dude. I think there definitely would have been some outrage. First off, we lose Rick at the beginning of the season, right. And then they take Ezekiel away.
They were smart. They're like, we can't kill too many big players yet. I mean, we gotta. And I've heard, man, somebody commented on one of our videos, and we love each and every one of you, and we highly encourage you to comment, but please don't comment spoilers. In the past, yes, we've discussed things that we'd heard, but if you've paid attention to our channel, you notice we've kind of backed off of those because neither one of us likes spoilers.
No, I hate them.
When we would discuss things that we thought were going to happen, we did it because we were like, our Walking Dead friends probably want to hear about this, but then it just came down to we don't want to spoil it for anybody. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, somebody spoiled the ending of that with the title of a YouTube video.
What?
And it was karma, because one time we put somebody who died's name in a YouTube video, and I felt bad because somebody was like, I hadn't seen the episode yet. And I'm like, and so from then on, I would always just put spoiler in the title and learn my lesson. So I got karma back around. But I saw somebody, so please just try to refrain from spoilers in the comments section, because somebody put this big twist that's supposed to happen next week. And it would have blew my mind Now I'm just going to be waiting for it the whole time.
Man, don't tell me.
Oh, I'm not.
Ooh.
I'm not.
But,
Carol turns into like a alpha walker. She's gonna just become a walker, and she's gonna like become alpha. She's gonna take
like
the new
a sentient zombie,
right?
Who
Yeah,
leads the undead horde.
Now that I know that's gonna happen,
right? Well, that is definitely a game changer.
Just play, and that's not it. So just stay out of don't read the comments from one of our videos. But nothing against the person that commented that. Some people take that so literally. Like, no, we appreciate you. Please continue to comment. Just we don't really care much for spoilers. I like things to be fresh.
I'm telling you, man, though, how great was it that wasn't the season finale?
That's what I love about this. Yeah,
we still got some more ground to tread.
We've had several moments in this show. In this season, I feel that past people would have used as like finales.
Right.
And you don't always have to leave us with a cliffhanger to make us come back. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, like, I have more faith in your viewers than that, with the whole Negan, Glenn, and Abraham thing. I thought that was stupid. That episode should have ended with him killing both of them and then just leaving our hearts in our throats like, no, and then come back. We would have all came back. We want to see how they're going to recoup from this. Where are they going to go from here? Have more faith in your viewers than to think that you have to dangle cheese on a string to keep us focused. I mean, it just...
One thing that had me scratching my head a little bit, is only, two of the Highwaymen that ran in and tried to save them. They had a pretty big posse, didn't they? They
didn't have as many as they stood among those mannequins, so it made them look like they had more. Right. But yeah, I thought there were more than two, and they might have been. Maybe there'll be people left over from the group.
Just a couple branched off or something.
The scenes from next week's episode look interesting. We're going to see like blizzard activity, and it looks like from the looks of the trailer, it looks almost like not the trailer, but the looks of the preview, it almost looks like the kingdom's fallen. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if they'll do another time jump.
The snow kind of works in the survivors, whatever, Alexandria and everyone's advantage, because the Whisperers, I mean, they've weaponized zombies, and zombies don't move as well in cold weather and snow. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I hate that it's about to end, but I'm very satisfied this season. Unless they just royally screw it up next episode, this season can end, and I will still say that's one of the best seasons that show's ever had. It was fresh. It was new. It feels more like the original Walking Dead, where every episode had something new. You know what I mean? There's always something. And I wonder, we were talking about it, I wonder if when Daryl was surrounded by those Whisperers in the woods, if it wasn't like a flashback for him of being surrounded by the Saviors.
Yeah, man, probably so.
He had already been captured and kind of thrown into the middle, I know, and it was more Rick and them that were Rick, Carl. Gosh, so many people that are dead now, dead or gone. Like everybody but Aaron in that group, I think. No, Aaron, Rosita, Michonne, it was a big group. But, it's like, but still, they were just surrounded in the woods by the Saviors. It was more Rick and them that were walking through the woods, and all of a sudden the Saviors just surrounded them. Mm-hmm. But still, I wonder if to Daryl because that's what it felt like to me, kind of like, oh, shit, here we go again.
I'm telling you, man, now Negan may be the only hope.
I really hope the way this season ends is with Michonne pulling like the Rick from the comics and like opening the door and basically, or walking down there, even if she don't open the door, but saying, I need your help.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's, oh man, I'm ready. I want to see Negan and Beta. I was very satisfied with Daryl and Beta. I'm very satisfied with Daryl as a whole this season.
Yeah, man, he's doing a great job. They're giving him, material to work with.
Yeah,
it's about time.
Like I said, it feels like this season has been much more focused on, all right, let's flesh out these characters.
I'm ready to flesh.
Let's get these characters, let's get to know these characters. That way, if we do kill a minor character, at least you kind of knew them a little bit and you hate to see them go. Whereas, or like Daryl, we don't really have to worry so much about developing his character. I mean, they always gave him screen time, but they just didn't give him like lines or, it just was like something bad happens. Screw people. Yeah. Then something happens and he's like, we need to find people. Then something bad happens again and screw people. Now they're actually giving him, I love Daryl the first few seasons. And then like the last 2 or 3, I kind of got to where I was like, he's just kind of a prop to me now. He's not even really, he's just.
So who's going to lead the Hilltop now? Jesus
I don't know. Yeah, Maggie's gone. I think Maggie. It would be great, and I know she's not because they are out here in talks to bring her back next season. Mm-hmm. But man, wouldn't it be great if like the last episode, like they all were at the Hilltop and Maggie just stepped up and was like, "Guys, what? All right, I'm tired. I've been on the road all day. Tell Tara and Jesus I need to meet with them in my office about the Tara and Jesus thing.
Right.
They're not here anymore.
Yeah, man. I caught a little bit of Whiskey Cavalier the other night. I don't know.
Was it? Whatever. You didn't like it?
I mean, it was whatever. It was just typical, like network drama kind of comedy stuff.
Right.
Wacky undercover stuff. I don't know.
She's much better suited as Maggie on The Walking Dead.
I just wish she would have went from a show like The Walking Dead to maybe like a Showtime series. I don't know, just something
Game of Thrones, something epic, basically. Not just your run of the mill kind of.
Just like a 9:00 network show
sitcom
or
almost. It's not a sitcom, but it almost has that feel. Just kind of campy. Like there's a million of it.
Yeah, it's like if Andrew Lincoln went from The Walking Dead and went into like a reboot of Nash Bridges. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, you like to see some of these long, like almost like I consider The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones to be more like movie type shows.
Oh, yeah.
Just like a really, really long movie.
I do kind of miss Nash Bridges. By the way, I'm not hating on Nash Bridges. Fun show,
of course not.
No.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I was blown away. It was another point I wanted to make, but I can't think of what it was. I remember the Daryl being surrounded thing.
What did you think of the movie? Were you expecting something different? Like I thought it'd be like an old Jean-Claude Van Damme flick or something.
I thought it'd be like It's a Wonderful Life or something, like a very like cliche classic movie. But and I also too, because I watched a little bit of it with you this morning when you watched it, because I watched it last night, and I remember telling you, I was like, okay, that was when in the cartoon the thing pulls the fox's head off.
Yep.
And I was like, and when we were watching the show last night, I told my girlfriend, I was like, did he just pull that fox's head off?
Well, it's like he pulls his face off, basically,
right?
Like his fur, like basically
like kind of like the whispers, yeah. And I was like, no. And then when I watched it with you, I was like, oh no, that was his hat. And then like the next scene, he's just like pulls it off, and I'm like, wow, that's some serious like parallels there.
You'll have to forgive me, man. I'm not good with names, but the leader of the Highwayman, they got Ozzy, right. Man, if I'd have made that deal based on getting to watch a movie and I walk in and that's what they're playing,
you'd want like
I'd
porn.
have been like, I would have wanted something, a freaking like
JP would want one of the old, like back in the day when they used to play porn at drive-ins. JP would be like, all right, I want.
God, can you imagine like back in the day, like going into a porno theater, like creepy
it's just got to be weird, man. Everybody around you's chubbing and you're just sitting there trying to play it cool, like.
Well, man, apparently some people are probably, getting a little hand relief.
Like Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah.
Ain't that what happened when he in like a porn theater?
Masturbating in a movie theater.
I mean, can you really blame him for was it a movie theater though, like movies, or were they doing porn movies?
That's what I was getting ready to say. I hope it was a porno theater, because if he was in there like watching Dunstan Checks In and just jacking it,
yeah, I mean, like if it was a porn, I'm not saying that's okay, but I mean, come on. I mean, it's porn. I mean, the dude got a little too excited and carried away, but if it was like a family flick, yeah, that's disgusting.
Wasn't Pee Wee Herman in Dunstan Checks In? Is that why I thought of that? Wasn't he like an exterminator?
That's the movie with the monkey, right?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
Really? Yeah, I learned something new about you every podcast.
I love Dunstan Checks In. I'm thinking now that he was like a wacky, like either like an animal control guy maybe or something. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Keep talking. I'm looking it up for you.
Are you looking it up?
Mm-hmm.
But man, it was so well cast. You had Jason Alexander. You had who's the big fat guy from Beetlejuice? He was the flamboyant hotel owner. No, he was a hotel reviewer. Man, I love that movie.
Let's see. Does Pee Wee Herman have like a real name?
He does, but I can't think of it. Oh, Futch.
Futch. I like it.
Yeah, it's. Oh man, never mind.
Let's see. All right, I got the cash. Yep, Jason Jason Alexander. Yeah, Paul Rubens. Is that his real name?
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that really would have been weird, because he would have been masturbating to his own, movie.
Yeah, that'd be gross.
Which if I was in a movie, man, I might do the same thing. I don't know.
Just like so infatuated with yourself, it just gets you turned on.
Well, I don't know. Actually, honestly, with our podcast, sometimes I don't know. It's hard for me to.
Please don't tell me you be. Oh, okay. I was going to say, please don't tell me you rub one out listening to the sound of our voices together.
No, not yet.
I don't listen to many of our podcasts either. Some of them I will, because I just don't. Yeah, I absolutely hate hearing my voice. So,
yeah, man, and I really should. I mean, it's just like stand-up. If you don't listen to yourself, it's hard to improve and realize what you're doing wrong.
Oh, yeah, like football or any sport. If you don't watch the playbacks of you in action, you can't really improve.
you really
you got
need
to
to.
watch yourself. So we need to listen to ourselves more because we suck. We got to figure a way to get better. But
whenever
I suck. You do wonderful, but we got to figure out a way to do better.
If you took a shot every time I said, right,
Actually
you'd
read
be drunk as shit in no time.
Read an article the other day that said, believe it or not, while it makes someone sound unsure of what they're saying, it's actually a sign of intelligence.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of information up here. It's just on a little bit of a time delay.
Yeah, they say there's nothing. It doesn't mean you're not. Some people associate it with that because if you're in a debate with someone and you start arguing and you get kind of like, they'll kind of, they're like,
right.
Look at you can't even. And it's like, no, actually, it's just that your brain's got so much information, you have to kind of pause to get it out. That's why I hate like straight up debates. It's like, I love debates, but I hate them at the same time because it's more of a strategy than it is actually who's factually correct. You know what I mean? It's just more about who can make the other look stupid.
Yeah.
Instead of like who's got the most valid points. But yeah, so this episode, man, I feel like we still need more sad music. Let's cue that up. We're just
Like I said, I couldn't be happier. No one I really, really liked died, and Henry is gone, man.
And it was shocking. I don't feel like it was that predictable. Let's go through. Let's do this. I think this will be fun. We'll start with you, then we'll go to me.
Okay.
If you just give it an attempt. Who did you think was going to end up on a pike?
Ezekiel's the obvious,
right.
first choice. And man, what's so great is I have a feeling that Alpha was planning on decapitating Ezekiel. But, once he met her, she was just so charmed by him.
How could you not, right? Corey Payton himself, the actor that plays King Ezekiel, is just such a charming, fun guy. How can you not? How could you want to chop that head off?
No, I know, man. So I really think that's what happened. She was just so charmed, she couldn't go through with it.
And it might have been a Negan thing, too. She might have, in this, as opposed to the comics, might have knew that killing him might have made him a martyr because she could definitely tell in the kingdom, she saw that painting of him and Carol. She could tell he was very revered and loved. And killing him might result in the exact opposite of what she's trying to get. They won't be left alone. They might actually, the whole kingdom might come after her. So she knew killing these minor people would get her point across without inciting a straight-up war. Because, like I said, it's kind of the way they focused on that painting of Ezekiel and Carol kind of showed her that they were loved and revered by their community.
Yeah, man. One thing Ezekiel, you know that there's this new threat, and then you meet this woman you've never seen before. I know there's a lot of people in Alexandria, but she's definitely throwing off some weird vibes. I
liked her accent better playing that character of Debbie than I do. And don't get me wrong, as much as I don't like it, I do like her eccentric accent. It throws me off, but it adds a lot to her character. It's very... And because we're from the South, and we know they're in Virginia, which is where we're located, and we know that people don't talk all that eccentric here. You do. I actually do know a few people. My good friend James that we were with just yesterday, he's got some family members, and one of them in particular talks just like this, and I'm just like, wow. But there are people down in Georgia and other parts that do have these really kind of southern draws that are really.
There's some mountain people. We're a lot of people from like the Carolina mountains.
Yeah.
They migrated up here, and
we don't know exactly where she's from. So she might be from somewhere that actually, that accent is completely normal. But. But did you notice when she was being Debbie, she definitely had much more of a subtle Southern accent. It was there, it was believable, but it wasn't as thrown out. But back to, because I got something to put on her. So back to, who did you thought Ezekiel was going to end up on a pike? Who else were you thinking?
Woo. Yeah, who was it? Oh man, I don't know.
Come on, man, give me a few. Just think. Just give me a few for the fans' sake. They would love to hear it. Just give them a few that you thought. Maybe even during the episode. Just think, like, who did you think? Oh yeah, you're dead.
Well, during the episode, you can pretty much tell, the people with Rosita.
Right. Oh, I did too.
Yeah. I thought maybe at one point maybe Jerry's wife or girlfriend, baby mama.
Yeah.
I thought she might end up on one. So I figured, if not Rosita, at least her, just a pregnant woman, and plus that puts Jerry in war mode,
Right. Oh yeah.
So I was kind of thinking that.
That's one thing that does suck would be to see Jerry's reaction to Ezekiel's head on a spike, just because I felt like it would have been so heartbreaking. But I'm glad we didn't have to experience it. But I felt like it would have hit you in the gut.
I figured if not Ezekiel, then Jerry, and then I figured if not Rosita, then Jerry's baby mama. So I was happy to see Jerry and Ezekiel both safe.
See, that right there goes to show why this season's so great, because in past seasons it would have been very predictable. They would have focused in on Jerry and his wife and children just to let you know, basically, they'd focus on them for a few episodes and then one of them or all of them would die. Whereas now they're not doing that. They're focusing on characters who aren't necessarily going to die and then completely blindsiding you with other stuff. And that's what I missed. That's what I loved about the early seasons. Like we were talking about yesterday. It's like season 3 when Lori dies, man. Like that was just a regular episode. That wasn't a finale, a premiere, nothing. It's just another episode. And then T-Dog's dead, Lori's dead. And you're just like, what in the hell? And there was no lead up to it. It wasn't like, okay, they'd, like, oh, we're going to focus on Lori really hardcore because we're going to kill her. Like, I mean, it just happened. And that's what they're doing this season. They're giving you time with characters. And they may kill him, they may not. And that's part of why I liked it so much.
Yeah, man. You think all the fan hate for Henry is what kind of geared their decision?
I don't think so, because I think they'd already filmed it. And Henry, they'd already filmed it before we even realized how much we didn't like Henry. So does that pretty much wrap up yours? Anybody else you could think of that you thought was going to be head on a pike?
Nah, shoot, man. It's like pulling teeth just to bring those to my head. But no, I think that's about it.
I had a long, long list of people. I thought Luke was going to end up with his head on a pike. I thought that Alden was going to end up with his head on a pike. I thought King Ezekiel was. I thought if it was not Rosita, it was going to be in Rosita's place if it wasn't her. I thought it would be Father Gabriel or Sadiq. Maybe even Eugene, but I thought someone from that love, God, what is that? There's 4 of them, that love square.
Yeah.
I thought someone from those 4 were going to be like the Rosita death, from the comics. Either it would be Rosita, Ezekiel, Eugene, or Sadiq. One of them would be with their head on a spike. I thought, who else? I thought Kelly, Connie's sister. I thought she was going to end up, especially to be, again, and that's, they led us in that direction with their whole, you left without saying goodbye, like you could have died. I thought then Kelly was going to die, which would be kind of cliche and predictable, and I'm glad they didn't do that, because I thought that Kelly would end up with her head on a spike and then Connie would feel the weight of what she had told her, but they didn't do that, again, because they're not going a completely predictable route. But, gosh, I'm trying to think. I mean, I had a lot of people I thought were going to end up. I definitely thought, if not Ezekiel, Jerry or Jerry's wife would end up with her head on a pike. Let's see. I said Luke, Alden, one of them. I thought Diane with the bow. I thought that whole group. I actually originally had thought Diane would be one, because I was like, she's been a side character for a while. We don't love her because we haven't spent a lot of time with her to get to know her as a person. She's always just there during crisis, but we like her, and I feel like that it'd be a good way to wrap her up. And when they all left, I was like, oh yeah, that whole group is going to be on pikes, and they weren't. So I mean, I just had this whole list, and like other than the blacksmith's wife, I think that's the only person I predicted right, which wasn't hard to predict at all. I think everybody knew that was happening. But Tammy is her name, Tammy Rose. But I didn't predict anybody right. That's why we're not doing prediction videos.
Yeah, man. But it's still satisfying stuff.
I feel like I don't even like prediction videos anymore. And there are probably some very honest people out there, but I feel like a lot of people just look at the spoiling dead, get the spoilers, and then make their prediction videos, maybe change it up a little bit, so then that way people are like, he's always so accurate. And it's like, no, he just reads spoilers and then does it. So that's kind of why. I mean, I'm not saying we won't ever do a prediction video again, but I mean, like, I don't know. Some people do them all the time, and it's like they're scary accurate, and you're like, you're not predicting. You're reading stuff from the Spoiling Dead, which I'm not gonna lie, I would be. My feelings would not be hurt if the Spoiling Dead would just shut down. Yeah, because people, I don't mind people getting spoilers. That's cool. If you like spoilers, get your spoilers. But they just spread them all over the place. They're in article headlines. They're in comments. They're in messages. And you just are like, oh, come on, man. Some of us don't want to know what's going to happen. We like to predict, make guesses and get into it. But at the end, I want the shock like I felt last night.
Yeah, same here, man. I'm not a spoiler guy.
The shock.
Well, a lot of times I won't even watch trailers,
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I like I said, I can't. Like with the new. That's why I'm going to go see Endgame as soon as it comes out, because I don't want anybody to spoil that for me. I had some of it spoiled prior, and I was like, well, that would have been a shocking moment. I would have liked to have experienced that completely blindsided. But we got our first snow has started, the first snow ever, which is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, man.
Loved how that episode ended. Did you like Lydia? Do you like Lydia now?
Yeah, man. I certainly like her now that, she's not with Henry. Sometimes you hate a girl just because her boyfriend's such a douche, so.
I always like to figure out exactly how I would love, I don't because that's kind of the mystery and you never really found it in the comics, but how she lured these people away. I mean, we knew, like with Ezekiel, we thought she had taken him, but when Henry went to fix the broken pipe, did she go in there and snatch him up then?
Yeah.
Enid, what did they do to lure her out? We know how they got the Highwayman. How did they get those teenagers out? I wonder what she did to get them out of there. She cleans up very well because I thought being that she had shown herself to the hilltop, there was no way she was going to infiltrate.
Yeah.
Because when she met people before in the comics, she had her mask on. So when she walked into the fair, she was just this new person they didn't know. And so I was like, well, they're going to probably just catch people on the roads, how they're going to do it. So it was brilliant the way they brought her in. And that opening scene was tragic and disturbing.
Yeah,
she's just singing to herself as she's sawing the woman's scalp off.
They should sell those wooden hilltop chips online, though. I'd buy one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. I thought they were awesome. Some form of currency coming back.
Yeah, could be.
I'm just shocked. Still in shock that Henry died. I did not think it was going to happen.
No, dude, I'm elated.
Yeah, my girlfriend found it weird because I was very into it, and then as soon as he was on the pike, I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
With Enid and Tara both, I was like, oh, no, come on, man. Enid's gotten on my nerves in the past, but this season she's grown up. She's more mature. I can dig her. And, man, I will say I am glad that Luke didn't end up on a pike because and those that if you've listened to this podcast from the beginning, you remember Matt that used to podcast with us. We love him still. Like I said, he just really wasn't into The Walking Dead. It was more of a chore for him, whereas it's something we enjoy to talk about it. But if you want to know what he's like in real life, man, he is Luke.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
He is definitely Luke. Studio line ringing, but I'm off the air, so.
Yeah.
But that's JP when he was watching the episode and they were doing the singing. JP was like, he really is Matt.
Yeah, man.
That is Matt right there. Yeah. So, but yeah, so let's rate this episode. I feel like we've covered the majority of it. So. I'm sure that we always leave something out, but I think we got most of it. So let's put our hands under the table.
All right.
And let's bring it up. You ready? Set, go.
I'll give 4.
I'm giving it 5, which I rarely give an episode a straight up 5. But
man, that's appropriate.
Again, these are the things I judge it on, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. I think that it was entertaining, even the beginning and the slower parts with no action or suspense. I was into. The characters were the unpredictability of it all is the main reason because there's not been much on The Walking Dead that you couldn't predict. You couldn't see a mile away because they just make, the same old mistakes of giving away what they're going to do. So this was, just out of left field. So I just was very happy with it.
Yeah, dude. They finally had build up the payoff was worth it.
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing that I hope they stop doing too, though, man. And I know that you like Andrew Lincoln leaving, but we were talking about it yesterday before we close this out. I hope we can get away from them telling us we knew that last night was going to be the episode with the heads on the pikes. Mm-hmm. I hate that we knew that.
Yeah, man.
We knew it was going to happen. And I mean, we talked about it because people were telling us, but I hate that even keep it all a mystery, man. When Andrew Lincoln died, I really feel like they told which episode it was to drive their viewership up, but I feel like you could have gotten even higher viewership if people wouldn't have known when he was leaving and would have stayed tuned in to every episode trying to catch when he left. And it's I don't want to know, let it be a shock. I love shock. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I love this episode so much was because there was quite a bit of shock there for me.
Oh, yeah, dude.
A lot of misleading they did.
And even sweeter, it's not the season finale. So.
Yep, that's next week. And then, man, what are we going to do on Mondays?
We'll figure it out, man. There's some good shows coming down the pike.
There is. Oh, Game of Thrones. We're definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to cover the last season of Game of Thrones.
Character names on The Walking Dead. Game of Thrones is going to be a
God, yeah. We did a Game of Thrones podcast one time, and we quit because I've gotten better with names now because of the comments we got.
Right.
But, people were just so furious because sometimes, we couldn't remember a name right. And it's dude, this show is long and it's been going for a while. I mean, we're not the authority. We're just having discussion about it, you know. So We might get some names wrong, but we are absolutely going to talk about the final season of Game of Thrones. That's one of my favorite shows ever, and I cannot wait to see it. But yeah, so make sure you hang out with us tomorrow for our Current Events Tuesday podcast. As we've said before, that's more of like think of a morning show type deal. Yeah. We just talk about what's happening in the world on that day. Not really political or anything, but just stories we find on the internet that day. We just go to Google News and pull articles. But yeah, so we've got that. If you've enjoyed this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, follow us on social media. JP is on Snapchat, J_Radsaw, and on Periscope, he's Jaypeazy. JP, will you spell that? Jaypeazy. And you can try to look up JP Slim, which is his actual username, like at JP Slim, but for some reason I had a hard time finding him with that. But his Periscope's very entertaining. You get to really know JP.
Yeah.
In a very intimate setting.
Might even, well, I don't know if I'll do anything with it tonight,
But yeah, so follow him there. Follow him on Snapchat. He posts sometimes on Snapchat.
Yeah, every now and then.
Mine is super easy. I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase, no apostrophes. There's 2 L's in Lloyd, so just I'm Justin Lloyd, all lowercase. That's my Snapchat, Instagram, and Periscope. And yeah, so hang out with us. But we will catch you tomorrow for Current Events Tuesday, and of course next Monday for the finale of The Walking Dead Season 9.
Don't know if I'm ready.
I'm Justin.
Oh, and I'm JP.
And we are the Podcasting Dead.